Hi, this little discussion is going to be about value. Those of you who have worked with me in a painting workshop or a lesson know that value is one of the things that I stress the most. I feel it's the fundamental, most basic aspect of a color that we need to talk about. So what I've squeezed out here is some white, some black. These three colors are manufactured by the Gamblin Company, and they are from Portland, Oregon. They make some great paints. These are their Portland Grays. They come in the Portland Gray Dark, medium, and then the light. If you're going to work with value, I like to think of value in terms of a scale from 0 to 10, 0 being the absence of light, and so that we're going to look at black as being that, and then the lightest value as being a 10 on that scale. These colors from Gamblin, they come in approximately a 4, value 4, a value 6, and a value 8, which fill in some of this middle territory between our black and our white. The way I like to use them is on my painting table surface. I have approximately a value 5 for my painting surface. So that helps me judge the other values that I'm mixing more accurately on my table. I can look at it and say, if this is the halfway point between white and black is this table surface, it helps me hone in on what these other values are. For example, this being the value 4, slightly darker in value than my table. This being the value 6, a little bit lighter than my table. If I take a little bit of each of these colors and work with them to mix them together, I'm going to get a value between those two, approximately value 5 on that 1 to 10 scale. And if you squint at this, you'll see that I'm mixing a value that's the same value as this table. So it's between this this value of 4, 6, we've got 5. Then I can do the same thing between these two values. So if here I've got a value of 6 and a value of 8, if I want to get some of those values in between here, I can combine these in various proportions and begin to get my whole range of grays. If I were a beginning painter and I were just starting out and trying to learn to be a representational painter, that is depicting the way light hits objects and you can create form, I would probably spend a lot of time not painting in terms of color with hue, but thinking in terms of value and how these tones are affected when light hits them. For example, the value of a flesh for a Caucasian person, if you say that's approximately a value 7, in form lighting it's going to be lighter than 7. So you know if your model is in the light, the value is going to be up in here, okay? And if that same value 7 is in shadow, it's naturally going to be darker, so we're going to be moving down in toward this end of the value for where the flesh gets in the shadow. And I've created a real nice little card that has some of these tables for 3 form lighting situations. This being the most normal form lighting situation. And here you can see what happens with the values 1 to 10 when they're on the light side of the lighting situation. And then this column here is what they are when they're in the shadow side. And that line between light and shadow is where the halftone is, and that's where you're going to get the most accurate reading on a value. For example, if you have a ball and you light it from above and to the side, you're going to have a light side, a shadow side, and then there's going to be a line where those two things meet. That's that halftone line. That's where the most accurate value of that ball is. So that's where you're going to choose or isolate that value, see what it is, and then you'll understand better how to match what's happening on the shadow side or on the light side. And that's what I use these cards for. It has the nice scale that goes from 1 to 10 to help me kind of keep a visual, it's just a visual reference point for me. So I keep these around. It's got my light tables on there. I always have some of them on my my painting area, and it really helps me work through my color problems. The odds are, if I'm having problems with a painting, it's because my value's off. So this is the setup that I use, and what I'll do is mix up several values of my various hues too. So I'll mix up some light to dark values of the red, the blue, the yellow, and then intermix those. So that's the first primer on value.